Hi everybody, whoever is on and ready to join me live for a Q&A. I'm a little bit worried that I might not see any questions that do pop on, but I get the feeling that most of the people that will pop on this will be watching this after it's already recorded and on my Facebook page, and that would be great. So if you do happen to join after the live is over, I'd love for you to just leave a comment and leave a question that you'd like to hear. So if I say anything here in this video that inspires you or prompts a thought that you would like me to share, please do leave the comments below so that I can answer your question. And unless you ask me to reach out to you a certain way, I'll just answer the question right in the comment thread, or hopefully try to send you an instant message, okay? As we're waiting, I'd like to wait to allow some people to join on in case there are others that heard about this Facebook Live and want to join on, which, by the way, if you're on or watching this later and you know a powerful single mom that really has the desire to make things happen for her and her children, invite her to this page. Invite her to come and check out the information that I have here. And if this information is something that resonates with you or her, then I'd love to hear more from you. Totally free page. You don't even have to pay to join a group or anything. This is just all about me sharing my story as a single mom, knowing that it can benefit anybody that is struggling with single motherhood. But I want to start off with sharing a story real quick. Let's see, this was probably about a year ago. I was at church and our pastor went on stage to share something that, we had no idea, but I felt the prompting of something that was really emotional to him to share. And what he said, I really did not expect. I really didn't, but it was so heartwarming and so heartfelt that I thought today to share it with you. So Pastor Brian gets on stage before the sermon and makes an announcement that we are going to be with open arms receiving back someone who left the church temporarily. So the reason that this was so important is because this person that left the church left because they had a personal issue going on, which we found out that she became a single mother. Young mother and single mother. She'd already been coming to church, but she felt so weighted by what she felt was something that was challenging to bring out to everybody, which I can't blame her. When I was a single mom, I had my challenges with judgment and with people that had their opinion about my sinful acts, my sinful nature. But the truth is that we are all in the boat of sinners, but it's kind of hard to hide something like that frankly is not that easy to hide. Not that we want to hide certain things about ourselves, but it's a tough predicament to be in. So I share that to you to say that when he came on stage to announce that we as a church body were going to lovingly, openly embrace this person with kindness and love, and knowing that we are all sinners and that we all face challenges. They're extremely difficult to handle. And this is the time to embrace each other as a loving party, a loving group, to embrace each other. Not everyone is that brave to just face a group of people that might be judgmental. Our church, of course, loving, open church that I just have been a part of for a few years now, and it has been instrumental to me to be involved in a church. So later on, another time, as I share my story with you, I will share how the church has been impactful for me, how my relationship with Jesus Christ has been hugely impactful in getting through the most challenging times of single motherhood. So just wanted to share that with you, and I just pray that more churches are that open and loving with individuals that go through tough times, right? So, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the Q&A. Before I do, I'll just introduce myself real quick. For anyone that does not know me that is on this site, my name is Princella Stringer. I am an empowerment coach for single moms. I invite you to invite other single moms that may be challenged in this area and just want a little bit of support, want a place to turn where they can ask questions. So I wanted to reach out to women that I've been working with face-to-face here in the community that I live in Benton Harbor, Michigan, and ask them what questions they would ask someone. And many of these questions are questions that we have already addressed together, but they were their biggest challenges. Okay, so I'm going to share that with you today. And as I said, if you have any comments or questions, please go ahead and leave those, and I will come back to those questions at another time. Unfortunately, I won't be able to answer those right now. But okay, so the first question that we will touch on is, I'm just looking at my sheet here. All right, one of the things that we face as single moms is a little bit of mom guilt. So, let's see, is there such a thing as guilt-free me time? Is there such a thing as guilt-free me time? You know, I have to say, even today, as a married mom, I still face that. You know, I still face the challenge of guilt-free me time, guilt-free time at work, guilt-free time working on my business, guilt-free time working on studies. It is a challenge. However, the thing that helps me get through that and look at it in a different perspective, first things first, is that I communicate to my kids what I have going on, communicate to my husband what I have going on. Obviously, I'm speaking to you as single moms, but communicating to anybody, say at this point in your life, you're living with family. Some of you may be living on your own very successfully, and that is wonderful. So I think the best thing to do is just to communicate to the immediate people that will be impacted by your needing to get some me time, get some study time, get some quiet time, whatever it is. So setting up those boundaries ahead of time is crucial to having guilt-free time, because then you don't have any interruptions and things like that that might get in the way. I always tell my kids, if at this point in time, do not interrupt me unless there's a fire. Of course, I'm exaggerating just a little bit, but when I say that, they know what that means, that they're not going to come knocking on the door to just ask me if they can have a snack, right? So communicating that is very important. The other thing, too, is one of the things that happens that when we're struggling with me time is really, it kind of bounces over to self-care, and I just want to kind of add this piece because I think that this is really, really important, that it's, as self-moms, we recognize that this is a guilt-free zone because we need to take this time for self-care. And I just talked with a friend today who called this self-compassion. I loved that, self-compassion, recognizing that we need some time and some space to do things that we need to do. So some of the tips that I have, though, also with this self-care is to get involved in groups with like-minded women. There's a pretty neat website called, I thought it was pretty neat, a great option called Meetup. And anybody can go on there and set up a meetup. And so you may do a meetup with professional single moms. Well, that sounds a little backwards. Single moms who are professionals, single working moms, single moms with kids under a certain age, things like that. And of course, as always, I would invite you to be safe and make sure you're meeting in a public place and that you feel secure in the environment that you're meeting in for your meetup. The other thing, I just mentioned a moment ago how I attend a church that we've been attending as a family for a couple of years now. And so in the beginning of going to church there, I had to force myself to be social. You know, it's not easy to be social when you feel like you're isolated and disconnected from most of the people there at church. And I had to take an intentional effort to socialize and to get to know people and ask them questions beyond how's your day. You know, you can point out something that they're wearing and make a comment about, oh, where'd you get that? I love it, or whatever it might be. I really taught myself to think of ways to ask questions that were beyond the how's the weather questions, right? And for you, it might be checking something out that you have in common with that person and seeing how you can connect with that individual. Great question is, what do you have going on today? You know, and that might spark something off. And then the idea is with being social is to take whatever that comment is and spawn off another question off of that. And hopefully it'll get you started on spawning off other questions. So the reason that the question about mom guilt led to self-care, which led to pulling yourself out of isolation, is that they're all really intermingled, they're all linked together. And when we find commonality with other people that are in like situations, then we have a pool of people that we can turn to when we need help. I actually have a group of friends that when one of us is challenged with a situation, we will post on this group post or group text, hey, I'm running behind at work. Can anybody please pick up my child at 4 o'clock? And it could be in an hour, it could be in 30 minutes. Just yesterday, I had to text my friends and say, my kiddos are not answering me. Can someone please go to my house and check on my kids? And I had a friend who said, I will hop in my car right now. If nobody can go, just let me know. Luckily, my son ended up texting me, so I didn't have to send her over there. Having a group of friends that you can turn to in that way and setting that up from the beginning is huge. It's huge. So mingling and connecting with people that you know that have like situations really frees you from a lot of mom guilt. Not to mention the connections that you're making with the women that you're also helping. And when you can actually help them, jump at that chance to help them too, because it will come back. So, okay, so another question. How did you deal with judgments? So I talked about this in the beginning a little bit, but I have to tell you, one of the most disheartening things with doing my research with single moms, now the reason I say that is because as an empowerment coach, I wanted to serve single moms, but I wanted to learn more than just my story. You know, I know my story. I know my struggles that I faced as a single mom, but what's your story? What are the stories of thousands, millions of other women that have faced this challenge as well? So I did some research, and one of the most disheartening things I found were on Facebook page, book reviews, YouTube videos, anything that had comments about single moms. The comments were either altogether deleted or there were way too many comments that were so negative against single moms. I won't even repeat some of the comments that were on there, but when you go to reach out for help as a single mom and you come to that kind of judgment and that negativity when you're trying to reach out for help, it's challenging to feel good about yourself and your situation when where you turn, you face these judgments. So we know we can't do anything about that, right? We cannot do anything about other people's judgments on us as single moms. When I was a young single mom, I had someone come to me and said, oh, dear, you look too young to be pregnant. And my answer was, I am, but I am. So, And that was hard for me. I thought about that for weeks afterwards. I was only 18, so it was tough on me to handle. The only thing, what can we do, right? The only thing we can do is know that within ourselves we are doing the best we can. We caused, for some of us, for me it was my judgment call. I did not do what I needed to do so that I did not get pregnant at a young age. As single moms, as young moms, we adore our babies and are so blessed that we have our children. But in hindsight, I wouldn't change a thing, to be honest with you. I would not change a thing. But if I could tell my old self that, the 18-year-old girl, looking ahead, Princella, you will not want to change a thing, because you will know your son, you will love your son, you will grow with your son, and I needed to be okay with that. So as a older professional, single mom, older, I'm older too now, we learn to feel good about our situation, because this is the life that God has chosen for us as single mothers, is to face this challenge as a single mom. I'm not saying that God wants us to be sinful or to face these challenges. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that things happen in our lives so that we can learn and grow. Now, God has many powers and can do many things. But some things are circumstantial. Some things are based off of somebody else's mistake or somebody else's doing on our life, someone else's decision that impacted us being single moms. This is absolutely true. And here's the thing where the judgment comes in. People that are making negative judgments, strong negative judgments against single mothers, have no idea what that individual as a single mom is going through. And if I could tell that to every person that made a negative comment on the comments that I found, I would. Would it do any good? Probably not, right? So what do we need to do? We need to feel good about ourselves, feel good about the impact we're making on our children's lives, feel good about the impact that we're making on the people around us' lives. And that's all we can do, right? Judgments will come and go whether we're a single mom or not, right? Let's be honest. Judgments will come and go whether we're a single parent or not. So all we can do is focus on ourselves, focus on how we feel about ourselves and how we're impacting the world. So I hope that serves you with anybody that's dealing with judgments now. This will never get old for me to tell you and remind you that you are wonderfully, perfectly made. You are made just as God intended for you to be. And if someone is not happy with that, then they can take it up with him. That's all I have to say, right? So, all right, on to the next question. Another question was about motivation and how motivation comes and goes for many of us. And I think that a big part of that is because we have so much on our plates that we're juggling, right? And a lack of motivation does happen when we have so much on our plates. So I just want to invite you, for the sake of time, I want to invite you to go ahead and look at that past video that I did last Sunday that answered this question on motivation. All right. Now, here's one question that I was challenged by and one of my clients is challenged by, is dating as a single mom. So not an easy thing for me. What I will do is just share with you what I did when I was a single mom and how I met my wonderful husband. I really felt led to be single for a little while. Now, I cannot say that being single came easy, but when I realized that that is the way God intended for me to be in that present time, it became easy. It was not always easy, okay? So the thing I want to share with you with that is that during the time that I knew I was being prompted to stay single in my single motherhood, it took a lot of prayer. It took intention. It took understanding on why this was necessary, and it wasn't easy. However, when the time came that it was time for me to date, I was actually prompted by my son. And I will share that story another time. But some of the things that I did when it was time for me to date, first of all, I didn't tell my children at that point. Now, before that point, I have to say that before that, I was not as mindful. I was not obedient to staying single and not dating and not having people in front of my children. I'm embarrassed about that, but that's the truth. I wasn't ready for that. So at one point, God finally said, that's enough. You're going to be single, and you're going to be single until I say. So the time came that I felt that I was prompted through my son. Because at that point, that would be the only way that I would have, because by then I believed and knew that God wanted me to be single. So fast forward ahead again to what I did to date when I was ready, when I felt prompted to date. So I actually went on a website called christiansmingle.com. I felt like that was the best place for me to interact and engage with people that I would potentially date. Why? Because I would rather have this distance, this online virtual distance of dating someone versus meeting people face to face. I wasn't going out in bars, and that wasn't the place that I wanted to meet anybody. So I chose a website that I felt would take me down the path that I wanted to take. Now, I went through some challenges there also. Everybody's at different levels in their lives. Anyway, so I did. I went on a dating site, and it was something that worked very well for me. Not right away, but it took some time. And I didn't share with my children what I was doing, and I kept it at a distance. That's the only way that you can do that for your children, to keep it healthy for them. I set up time where my children were busy and occupied, either with their dad or their grandma. I had, I would set up play dates and have that be the case. The other question that comes up too is how soon you should share when and if you are deciding to date and meet someone that God's intended you to be with. When should you share about your children? And for me, it was on the first date. I was not interested in talking to anyone that was not okay with me having children. That's just the way I chose to do it. Some people choose to get to know someone better first before they talk about their children. But for me, it was a no-brainer that he had to feel good about that from the beginning. Otherwise, it was not going to work. So those are my feelings, my takeaways on that. The two of the things that, there are many things that just require a little bit of planning, and that's something that sometimes we just need to bounce some ideas off of other people to figure out how to plan these things. And so that's what I want to invite you to do, is to, comment about things that you need some assistance with in planning. Maybe it's working on getting a promotion at your job. Maybe it's in getting a new job or getting a job, period. Maybe it's in discipline with your children as a single mom. We have to make all the decisions ourselves, and it's not easy sometimes. All the weight is on our shoulders, So if you're a prayerful person, powerful prayer works, and I encourage you to do that. But I am also a second ear for you to bounce ideas off of, and words of encouragement, maybe some things that I did or some things that some of my clients have done to get through some of those challenges. So thank you very much for listening to this video. And if you're on live with me, I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to hearing any comments that you have, any questions that you have. And I look forward to getting back to you on that. Now, I do want to share with you that I am an empowerment coach, and I do meet with clients one-on-one with challenges that they're facing. So if this is something that you would like to do and you want to do a discovery call with me, I would love to take a few minutes to talk to you. I prefer to do 90-minute discovery calls so I can get to know a little more about you and you get to know a little more about me, and we can talk about what are some challenges that you're facing and if I'm the right person for you to be an encourager and an outlet for the challenge that you're facing. So I invite you to visit me here on this Facebook page. I also have a website called www.mrsprincella.com, and I will leave that link in the comments as well. I will leave that link in the comments. It is under construction right now, but we'll have that up and running by next week. So in the meantime, I encourage you to come on the Facebook page and connect. So have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.